Hello everybody, Intuition here. Thank you as always for making time and space for us. Today we would like to discuss the importance of being selfish. You see, being selfish seems like it has historically gotten a negative rap. However, much of the issues in which we see today in society or interpersonal comes from being selfless. Meaning, that because of the indoctrination, the continued reinforced belief that it is terrible, it is negative, it is no good to be selfish, it has caused people to move into the hyper-positive of being selfish, which is being selfless. And that is inherently problematic. Because the most important person is always going to be the one right in front of you. And the person that is right in front of you is you. Meaning, if you shift your focus with your eyes, your nose is right in front of you, your feet are right in front of you, your arms are right in front of you, you are right in front of you. And then therefore, the most important person is right in front of you, and it is you. You have a self, so then therefore it is important to be selfish. But when I am selfless, what happens is that I shift the power dynamic between you and I, meaning that no longer do I have a self, no longer am I important, because now I have shifted the importance of myself onto you, being selfless. And so now you are the most important person in the room, which means that I've pedestalized you, meaning that now you are above me. You are more of an authority in my life than I am, because I'm so busy trying to be selfless that I'm forgoing my needs. And now that I am forgoing my needs, I am forcing you, then therefore, to become responsible for the needs that I am no longer meeting with myself, because I have forgone myself. Because now I am selfless. And so it is important to be selfish, because you have a self, you are in embodiment. So then therefore, the need to be selfish is ever present. And being selfish is simply showing up for yourself. You must take care of yourself before you take care of somebody else. And usually, when you take care of yourself, you don't need to take care of anybody else, because when I stand up for me, I stand up for everyone, because we are all interconnected. But if I'm not standing up for me, I'm standing up for you, then you don't stand up for you. I'm not standing up for me, so who is standing? So the idea then therefore is, much of these issues that we see on this planet today come from selflessness. What that means is, many people are upset about the political climate. Many people are upset about the literal climate. Many people are simply upset. And through their act of selflessness, nothing is really getting done. It becomes apathetic. The way that you elicit change is by standing up for yourself. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, the women's suffrage movement didn't come about because they were being selfless. They didn't sit there and say to themselves, my husband is really being an asshole today. And it sucks that I can't have the right to vote. I'm not seen as a real citizen. I'm only objectified. That's unfortunate. Let me go back into the kitchen and make another sandwich. No. What they did was, they stood up for themselves. And when they stood up for them, they immediately stood up for every woman that was being treated unfairly. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King was not selfless in the idea that, I'm going to allow people to say derogatory, discriminatory, terrible things to me, to my face, and I'm going to be okay with it. No. They said, I will not stand for this anymore. I will not tolerate it. No longer am I allowing somebody to sit there and talk to me so negatively in my face, treat me as a second-class citizen. So in them saying, I'm no longer going to tolerate this, I'm standing up for myself, they immediately stood up for every single person in that community that was struggling and suffering with the same issue. But over time, we've been told, no, don't be selfish, be selfless. And so now we have a whole society that is selfless, and now there are no selves. No longer are we putting ourselves first. We are being selfless, and now that we are selfless, we are putting the importance of the other individual above ours and saying, not only are you more important than me, but also don't forget to get my needs met as well. And that causes a problem because that means that you are not showing up. And when you don't show up, guess who does show up? The things that you don't want. The political climate that you cannot stand. The literal climate that is in crisis. And all of this is happening to some degree because you stopped showing up. You stopped being selfish. You stopped standing up for yourself and then therefore standing up for everyone. Thinking that somebody else was going to come in and rescue you because you were so busy rescuing the needy. Forgetting the most neediest of all, which is you. You need yourself more than anyone else. You need to be selfish. Most of the narcissism and egotistical behaviors come from people who are selfless. Most of the chaos that has happened historically was coming from people who were selfless. One of the most notorious people known for the atrocities that they did were acting in selflessness. Hitler was acting in selflessness, doing the job that nobody else wanted to do. How selfless. I will go out there and do what it is that I think everyone else needs. Selfless. But perhaps if he was selfish, he would have stayed at home painting dogs, traveling the countryside, being selfish, instead of being selfless and eliciting atrocities. Again, most of these things can be avoided by you simply showing up and being selfish and not buying into this mantra, this idea that it is more important to be selfless. We must start showing up. Now. So, just a little food for thought. If you want to shift some of the things that you are seeing, then show up. Be selfish. Demand something different for yourself. And as soon as you demand something different for yourself, not being apathetic, not being selfish, things immediately change. Because you start a movement, not by being selfless. A movement is always started from your movement. The civil rights movement started with one individual being selfish, not selfless. The suffrage movement started from one individual being selfish, not selfless. So, be selfish, please. If, of course, you wish to see immediate change in the things that are displeasing to you. As always, just a little food for thought. Thank you as always for making time and space for us, and we wish you well. Being selfish, you have a self, then therefore you are entitled to be selfish. Thank you.